We're going to take a look at an updated store closings for 2020, and we'll start down here with 31, Lord & Taylor. They're closing all 38 stores, and that's sad to hear. I remember them back in the day. I always thought they had a cool name, and they've been around forever, but they're going to close all 38 stores, and they said because of the pandemic, it's forcing them to close and go into bankruptcy. Number one, Pier 1 Import closes all 950 stores, which is incredible. I know they've been around for a long time too, and I drove around to a couple malls and seen they had closure signs. I didn't know all 950 were going, but if you want to get some deals, head on in. And number two, the Gordon's Goodies has closed all 700 locations. GameStop, 400 to 450 stores. And that's interesting because a lot of stuff is now digital. So if you buy a game, you could buy it on the PlayStation Store, or you can buy it on the Xbox Store and just download it right to your device. You don't even have to go to the store. So a lot of these brick and mortars are taking a hard hit, especially with the pandemic. And 254 stores closing. H&M, 250 stores worldwide. Victoria's Secrets, 250 locations. Wow. Tuesday Morning, 230. And this says filed bankruptcy in May and intended to close 230 of their almost 700 stores. Gap, 230. Walgreens, 200. Carter's, about 200 stores, 200 locations. JCPenney's, 154 stores. And you'd think JCPenney's is just, a slow death, and that's a good way to put it, because it has been a slow death. You keep hearing about bankruptcies, and I guess one day they'll just be gone. It'll be all the stores, but they just keep trying to hang on. Van Furniture, 190, 183 stores. Forever 21 is closing down, and it says unspecified number of stores. So it went through bankruptcy, and they announced 178 locations would shut down in order to stay alive. But then in February 2020, they got a new owner just before the pandemic hit. But now it looks like they may not survive at all. 153 locations, 145. Macy's closing 125 mall stores. That's just incredible. I mean, this is just, I think, just amazing. Bose, 119 stores. Office Depot, 90. I was actually in Plano, Texas, and I seen the Office Depot over there closing, and it's been there since I was a kid. It's been there 30, 40 years, and they're closing. So I mean, you can just see how hard things are getting hit. 76 stores. Express closing 66. Bed Bath & Beyond is closing 63 locations. And it says is planning to close another 200 stores over the next 2 years. So they got a lot of those going out. 73 out of 120 stores. Sears, and this is one, like JCPenney's, they've been around for 100 years. And it says Sears to shut down another 51 locations. And they filed bankruptcy last December. Now they're expecting to close another 51 stores. So I don't see them lasting too much longer, just like JCPenney's, but we'll see what happens. And 50 stores closing here. Kmart, 50 stores earlier this year, and I'm surprised they're still around. I remember growing up with them in the Blue Light Special, and I always thought they were a cool store, but Walmart beat them out, and they don't look like they have much longer to go. And this is Earth Fare closing 50 stores. I've never heard of that or been to there. And American Eagle, 40 or 50 stores, now up to 500 within 2 years. I've never heard of this store either, but they got 44 stores in the U.S. closing, but 1,000 plus globally. It says, has announced that it will be closing 500 to 600 stores for the next 2 years. The closures will represent about 55% of the company's 2,220 stores worldwide. That is incredible. And we already went over Lord & Taylor, all 38 stores. Wow. Chuck E. Cheese, goodbye to 34 locations, which isn't that many. It says Chuck E. Cheese filed bankruptcy in 2020. A lot of these companies filing bankruptcy. At the restaurant and kids' birthday hotspot, 600 plus U.S. locations have been seen with very small business since the pandemic. Despite Chuck E. Cheese's trying to trick Grubhub users into buying their pizza. Sales remain low, and 34 locations will be permanently closed. Yeah, I went over to Allen, Texas, and they had Chuck E. Cheese that had been there for years and years and years. It was closed down. And then something tried to go in there pretty quickly after. It was some kind of buffalo wings, but it wasn't Buffalo Hot Wings. But they went out of business pretty quickly too. Christopher and Banks, 30 to 40 closings. Lucky's Market, man, not too lucky, closes all 32 locations. So Lucky's is gone. Man, sad to hear, New York and Company, 27 locations. CVS is not doing too bad there, 22. Neiman Marcus, another big heavy hitter, high-end name, closing most of their 22 last call stores. They filed bankruptcy in May, another bankruptcy. Nordstrom's another big heavy hitter, high-end store, closing 16 stores in 2020. Hallmark, 16 Gold Crown locations. And, it's just me, but I couldn't see going in, spending some of those cards like $10, $15 for a card. I don't know. I can't see it. Century 21 closes all 13 locations. So goodbye to Century 21. J. Crew bankruptcy, closes 8 stores. Walmart shut 2 locations. Man, Walmart is just crushing. And so they're not going to have any problems. Bloomingdale's plans to close 1 location. So there you have it. A lot more stores closing and a lot of big names that have been around for a long time. And if you remember seeing earlier this year, Toys R Us and Kids R Us left and closed. So nobody is immune to these closings for the brick and mortar, and Amazon's stock keeps going through the roof. So we'll have to see what happens. I grew up back in the day where they had malls. I thought malls were cool. Sad to see them go. A lot of malls around here are closing. If you have any comments or anything, I'd love to hear about them. Thanks for watching. Take care. Be safe.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show.